Hello everybody, peace, welcome to another episode, and today I'm going to be talking about the difference between wisdom and deception.
From beautiful seas to flourishing legacies.
Now there is this book, and it is by Robert Greene. It is called Power, the 42 Rules of Power. Right? And this book is so huge, especially in America, especially in the West. A lot of people who work in corporate, a lot of people who work in certain organizations, or even people in families that have a role in the world in some way, they read this book and they use the tactics that Robert Greene shared. Now, I began to read this book, and little did I know when I started reading it, I remember reading one paragraph, right? And this paragraph was about friendship. And the author suggested that if you really want to gain power, and there was a lot more nuances to this. I'm just giving you something that just really stood out to me about this book, which really tells me the basis of this book as well, and I'll explain that to you. But the message was that be willing to throw your friends under the bridge so you can rise as a leader, right? It's all about leadership. When I read that, that was enough for me to realize that this is not a book that is a manifesto for me. It does not work for people who are living a life that is more aligned with who they really are. So there was some things which were very good in this book. For example, there was don't tell everyone everything. Don't speak all the time. I agree with that completely for a different reason. Not to gain power, but really from a place of alignment. Now, here's the thing, right? I want to tell you the difference between wisdom and deception. Now, the book was all about ways of being deceptive. And it did make a good argument in that there are some people who are very kind and they're very naive and they act a certain way and they manage, themselves, and they are seen in a certain way. They control that perception, and that is also a form of deception. I agree to an extent, right? I do agree. It's a mask. This man is talking all about masks, and I believe that 100%. So now, when I began to think about the concept of wisdom, and I've written about it in my book, The Woke Writer, I've written about the hierarchy of wisdom, I've written about the principles of wisdom, I've written about the meaning of wisdom, and what wisdom means. It comes from the Arabic word hikmah. Hikmah literally means everything in its proper place. That's the root of the word, everything in its proper place. Now, if we were to see wisdom in action, right, it would not always mean that we tell everyone everything that is on our minds. I remember I used to do this, and the reason I would do it is because I wanted people to realize that I'm not trying to take advantage of you. I'm not a bad person. You can trust me. That was my basis of why I was being the way I was with people, telling them everything and anything, and an overflow of information and oversharing, because then if they know that there's not a bad bone in me, right, then maybe they'll trust me. And I realized that the issue with that is, though there was transparency there and vulnerability, another buzzword, right, what was missing was wisdom. And if we see wisdom in action, really what it is when it comes to our interactions with other people, it is our discernment in how we choose to tell them what we tell them. And sometimes when we tell them certain things, if you've been around a narcissist, you know they're going to use it against you, right? And that's where the boundaries come in, which are with discernment, knowing what to say, when to say it, why to say it. Now, doesn't this sound a lot like deception, right? Deception is choosing what to tell people and controlling the kind of like ideas that are flowing from you, and you do not get hurt, right? And I got thinking about this because that book is all about deception. The Power book is all about deception. And I thought, you know what? There has to be a difference. There has to be a difference. And the way of telling everyone everything does not work in the world today, because a lot of people follow the Power book. And if you are the person who is literally at the mercy of a person whose manifesto is Machiavellian, right? Or it is the Power book, so to speak, or whatever it is, you're going to get hurt. It's going to be painful. and it's going to be something that is extremely difficult to come back from, right? So you can't tell everyone everything. You can't be completely transparent with them, right? And so what do? You do what? You be wise about it. You discern. You choose. You build rapport before fully trusting someone. Now, the difference between deception and wisdom is that wisdom is doing something and it is aligned with every single part of you, your best part. We have many parts of us, right? We have many layers upon our true self. It is doing something which is aligned with us, right? So, for example, you're working on a project. It's an important project. Someone comes and they ask you about the project. And the reason they're asking you is because they want to take you away for something personal to them, right? They want to kind of like use your energy that they sense from you, which is on this project, for their benefit, right? Because they can sniff it. Some people can just sniff your energy, right, so to speak. And what do? Do you tell them, I'm working on this project, I need this many hours, and I'm going to be like this, I'm going to be like that? And that's the problem with boundaries sometimes. Like we'll think that a boundary is telling everyone everything, and telling them, you know, I can't do this because of this, and that. You don't have to. You don't, in my opinion, you don't even have to tell a person what your boundaries are. You can just tell them what I'm going to be free at this time. And that's it. That's a boundary, right? But we get confused because we think we have to tell them why we are free at this time. We think we have to tell them what we are doing at this time. We think we have to explain to them why we need this thing. We don't. We don't have to do any of that, right? But anyway, back to the point. You don't tell them. You don't tell them, right? And that's discernment, and that is wisdom, because you are doing something that is most aligned with what is important and what is authentic and what is true to you and the best part of you. So you don't need to tell them anything. They don't need to know, right? Because you know that they're going to use it against you, right? That's wisdom. Now, deception is doing it because you are being authentic to another part of you. You are deceiving someone because you want something from them, right? And it's a power play. Wisdom is not a power play. Wisdom is more of a alignment with your true ultimate purpose, whereas deception is alignment to a self-serving vision. And that vision can be with someone who is wise, right? Someone who is using wisdom because they have a mission and they want to do something. And it can also be, a vision can also be with someone who is very self-serving and they are blinded by all of their wounds and they don't see anything except getting this thing for the mere reason because they don't want to be abandoned, right? Or they don't want to, they want to belong, or they want to be seen a certain way. It's all about perception. And deception is all about perception. It's a very, very hollow way of being, right? And wisdom is about alignment and fullness. And it's a very, very full way of being, right? So that's the main difference between deception and wisdom. So if you are the kind of person who overshares because you want to show the people like, I'm not a bad person or I'm not a threat or in some way, then just know that, hey, you know, it's okay to be wise and discerning sometimes, because not everybody deserves the information you tell them about you. And that's not coming from a place of arrogance. In fact, deception can come from a place of arrogance too, right? Which is a huge blinder. It's coming from a place of self-preservation, which is so important, and healthy self-preservation, which is deception is an unhealthy self-preservation. So in its simplest form is deception is toxic and wisdom is not, right? Wisdom is not toxic. It's protective and it's kind and it's aligned and it's full. And most of the time, if you're a believer, if you're a Muslim, right, you will find that when it gets confusing, here is your kind of measuring cup. If it gets confusing and you're not really sure if you're being deceiving or if you're being wise, because sometimes we've been told all our lives that we're being deceptive when we were being wise, right? And it can get confusing. The way to measure it is when you do this action that looks like wisdom or deception, do you feel closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or do you feel further away from him? And this isn't the kind of further away which is because of guilt or shame or toxic shame. It's the true further away that you know that, okay, I messed up. I'm taking advantage of this person. And it's healthy, balanced realization, right? And there has to be a lot of work that comes with that as well. But I don't want to go deeper into so many layers, maybe another video. But yeah, just ask yourself that question. Does this act bring me closer to my creator, or does it take me away from him? And if we are listening deeply to ourselves and our bodies, they will tell us that this is a full body yes. You feel this full breath, you feel this looseness of your limbs, right? And compared to if it takes you away from Allah, it's like this constriction in your heart. It is this feeling of panic, almost dysregulation. It's this fear of people, right? And that will tell you how you're really feeling. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Have a beautiful, blessed day, everyone. Don't forget to get your free downloadable from my book, The Woke Writer, which is all about inspiration. That specific chapter that you can download is all about letting go. All of the details are underneath this video. Have a beautiful and blessed day, everyone. Be wise. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace.